My biggest concern when I got sober was, there goes the fun. Life is going to be boring, right? And the guys in their 20s, 30s, they feel the same way. You know, they're kind of like forcing the hand and saying, I'm going to get sober because my life is just crappy, shitty, blah, blah, blah. But man, I'm going to miss all the fun. I'm going to miss all the excitement. And you know what? That is the farthest thing from the truth. But in my fucked up head, that was the first thing I thought about when I walked into the rooms of AA. In April, it would have been 6 years. I said, well, party's over. I'm done. I'm going to be a dull boy now. Boring. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my trip with Meredith to Houston this last weekend. Of course, we both went sober. And now I want to do that same trip, how it would be when I was drinking, or drugging, you know, or pill popping, whatever your addiction is, all right? So we left Friday afternoon from Dallas, and we hit Houston. And Houston, I love the city, but the traffic in Houston is unbearable. And it took us, almost 2 hours to go about 60 miles. From north of Houston to close to downtown. And as an alcoholic, I realized this, you know, it's funny, after I've gotten this clear thinking, there's a lot of aha moments. But as an alcoholic, and this is very true of me, I'm a very impatient person. And alcohol instilled that in me because for you guys that went to bars, you'll understand the story, right? You go to a crowded bar, they have 1 or 2 bartenders. Bartenders just balls to the wall trying to get everybody's drink. And I'm sitting there waiting for my drink, right? And I try to throw a big cash at this guy, the bartender, and tip him, right? But yeah, there's maybe 5 or 6 people, and I'm just like, I need my fix, I need my drink, right? And that's the way it was with the matter. Was the drugs in my early years or the alcohol? Because once I got on that roller coaster, I wanted to stay on that fucking roller coaster. So now I deal a little bit better with traffic and shit, but used to I would just like, right? So anyway, we get there, and my brother has a very nice place. He isn't there because he's up in Oklahoma, in Houston. And so we get there, and then we meet with Meredith's friend. And one of the guys was an artist. And he does some really cool glasswork stuff. And I mean, he's showing us pictures and stuff. And then we go out, and we spend some time there at his studio and stuff. And then we went out to eat at a very nice restaurant. And none of us drank. And then we went home, and you know, things were great between me and Meredith. And then we woke up the next morning, and we met Meredith's old sponsor for breakfast, right? And we had a lovely conversation, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, on sobriety. So here's 3 drunks talking recovery at breakfast. Her sponsor has 23 years of sobriety. 23 years of sobriety. She's about my age. And, you know, that was so powerful. And just meeting Marsha and just talking about sobriety and different things, it was just fun. And after that, we go to the rodeo. We go to Houston Rodeo. Houston Rodeo is like if you've never been to Houston Rodeo, it's like the State Fair of Texas here. Okay, they have a midway. And
3rd largest in the United States.
3rd largest rodeo.
It's the 3rd largest fair in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Number 1 is Minnesota, number 2 is the Texas State Fair, number 3 is
Houston
Rodeo.
And so they have this big, you know, midway rides, farm animals. But we went in there to the stadium to see the rodeo. And it's pretty cool, neat seeing these cowboys getting slammed against the fence, and, you know, getting stomped on by the bulls and shit like that. And then the calf ride, the calf wrestle, they had these teenagers wrestle calves down, and this red-headed gal spent like half an hour trying to wrestle, and it was just fun, right? And then we go out and we go to Midway, and we do a few rides, and when we did the farm animal, the petting zoo, and here's a petting zoo about the size like this, right? And they stuffed in all these goats, and there was deer and llama, and they're all fat as shit because, you know, everybody's feeding these damn animals. But we just had a blast. And then we go behind the scenes, and I don't know, has anybody been on a pig farm? You know how they walk the pigs with the stick? I mean, that was amazing. Here's these big fat pigs that weigh 300 and 500 pounds. They have a little stick, and they just tap them, and they'll go right or left. Down there. I thought, shit, that's neat, right? And then that night we go, and we had a beautiful dinner. Beautiful dinner. It's around midnight, and then we went to bed, and I went to church, and then we went to our favorite bagel place, which was great. And then we stopped at Buc-ee's. Anybody know who Buc-ee's is? Milo, you know what Buc-ee's?
Welcome beef jerky.
It is like, it's as big as Souls Harbor, this convenience store, right? And they sell all this shit. I mean, they sell souvenirs, stuff. We stopped there, and then we stopped at Starbucks, and then we got home, right? About 6, 7 o'clock. It was a fantastic weekend. And me and Meredith were just like one person. Now I'm going to tell you the weekend, how it would have gone if I went drinking. Because this is the weekend that I lived that I thought, woohoo, party, right? First of all, my cars were stocked with liquor. In the little council was the little airline scotches. I always believe beer drinkers were really not alcoholics, right? Because you can't really get, in my eyes, I couldn't get fucked up on beer, right? So I have the scotch. I'd have 2 flasks, right? A flask in each boot, right? And so I would be, once we got to Houston, it'd be like, fuck, you're cutting in on my drinking time. Yeah. So you know what I would have done? When traffic got bad, and this is true, I would say, Meredith, I gotta go to the bathroom, and since I can't handle traffic, I want you to drive. And I would go to the bathroom, and what would I do? With the scotch, right? And then the key is once I started, I had to maintain that. So then we get to my brother's, of course I'd have a bottle in my luggage, and I'd say, oh, why don't you do something? And I'd pour myself a big drink. Oh, do you want to drink, Meredith? Oh, okay, you're not drinking tonight. And then I would just get freaking wasted. And then we'd meet our friends, and I'd be like, hey, right? Hey, who gives a shit about this artwork? Let's go to the restaurant. Because I want to get fucking drunk again, right? I want to lose some fun. I don't give a shit. And then we get home, and Meredith says, you're a total fucking ass in front of my friend. How many women have said that to me? Hundreds. You are a total fucking ass, right? And then I would have slept in the morning because I had a hangover, right? So I would have missed her meeting with her sponsor, right? And then we'd be at the rodeo. And this was, you know, I had these aha moments. We had this aha moment when we went to Vegas at the Elton John concert. And this is what I did on every concert, every sporting event, anything that served liquor, right? I didn't give a shit what was going on, whether it was a baseball game, a rodeo, whatever. I was there to get fucked up, right? And I noticed there that they sold margaritas. They sold beer, I think they sold wine. Yeah, they sold beer, wine, and margaritas. I would have done the margaritas. Why? More liquor, right? So, and we sat in the middle aisle, down in the lower section, and this is what happened at Elton John. Let's say this row. I'd be saying, excuse me, right? Excuse me, trying to get between these people to get to a freaking drink, right? And that's what I did. It didn't matter what sporting event, that's what I did. Right? Excuse me, because I don't give a shit that you can't see the rodeo. I gotta get my fucking drink. Right? And that's the way I was. And then, I'll never forget, we went to Elton John, we're sitting middle seats, and this guy kept going back and forth with drinks. And you know, Meredith was pissed, and I just went, fucking me. It was. And that's why I would die at the rodeo. And I would have got toasted, right? Well, I'm not a margarita drinker, but I'm drinking margaritas just for the effect, right? So I'd be drinking this margarita, and then we go Midway and they serve beer. So now I'm switching from margarita to beer because that's all they sell in the Midway, right? So what's going to happen? I'm going to get sick, right? So I throw up, make an ass out of myself. I don't want to stay fucking car, man. I'm going to say stink anyway, right? That'd be my thought. I just wanted to go there. And then you go on the lives drunk. You know, you're going to throw up, yeah. Right? And then coming back, I'd have a hangover. I wouldn't go into church. I'd have a hangover and said, screw it. And she would have been like, this was the worst weekend I ever had. Right? And I wouldn't have stopped at Buc-ee's. I would have stopped at Starbucks because I would want to get home and get to the liquor cabinet. That was fun for me. Right? That's what I'm giving up. Right? Because in my fucked up head, that's what I think fun is. And that's what we think fun is. I think that's true, especially in the guys are in the 20s and 30s. The guys in the late 40s and 50s are going, fuck, I ain't drunk, you know. Fun, the drink or the drug is not fun for me anymore. Like, it's a pain in the ass. It helps me cope. But I know the 20 and 30-year-olds are guys are going, I'm missing out on all that fun. Right? And it ain't fun. And that's why I'm telling the story about the sober version and the drunken version. And probably a drunken version is a lot worse than what I mean, that's probably a mild drunken version. Right? So,